Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Legion Lads. I am your host, JR. Today we got Jose and Nick. What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Hello, hello.
Just a couple things, guys, before we jump into it. Today we're going to be going over ranking heavies, where they land, and why Jose's wrong. That's what we're doing. But before we do that, we got some announcements. This June, the 22nd, is the next Legion Lads tournament. So if you guys are going to go to that, make sure you sign up before then. It's going to be pretty fun. And then I'm gonna beat this over you guys like a dead horse. Veterans Game Fest is July 12th. We got 14 people signed up already. We need 18 more to get it to 32. And then hopefully next year we can make it a GT. So please come to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of prizes, I hope. And, you know, come beat me. Just destroy me. So yeah, other than that, KubaCon was last weekend, and our very own Legion lads, Rob, won. Congratulations, Rob. Man,
Congrats.
Nice.
yeah, those are some game guys. What'd you guys think of that?
I got
Rob Rob's list was awesome. He took what I didn't think. He ran Remnant, right? Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
ran
he
Remnant.
did. Mhm.
So I actually have his list for those of you who want to know what he took. He had his command cards were standing orders, pin down, moment of consideration. You have something I want, die by my hand, ambush, and assault. He had Moff Gideon with improvised orders, the Dark Saber Gideon, Naked Storms, Naked Shores. He had a Scout Trooper with the T-21 Stormtrooper. He had the Imperial Death Troopers, three of them with the RT-97C Stormtrooper and the E-11D config. He had two E-Webs with the barrage generator, the Edward Webs as we call them. He had two Imperial Dark Troopers with program loyalty with the assault cannon. His conditions were advanced intel, ordnance, cunning deployment. His deployment cards were shifting priorities, intercept signals, and bunker assault. And his objective cards were recon mission, sweep and clear, and mark targets.
Yeah, like I'm so glad they made that change for Imperial Remnant, where when you're undeployed, you could get your independence. So that was a nice buff for them. Um, Nick, did anything stand out for you for this tournament?
no, it was a fun tournament to watch though. I appreciate the streaming. I appreciate Imperial Goldfish streaming
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
got to watch some of the games. So appreciate the coverage and be able to see it because that's always fun. Not being able to travel and go, but being able to see it and see the games and see people play and see some different lists. And yeah, it was nice to see.
Yeah, which, on that note, Imperial Goldfish is going to be streaming Vet Fest, so that's going to be a lot of fun. They
They
obviously,
are they are getting a lot better. Like from their first stream where I was like, they don't know what they're talking about, and I was ranting and raging. And like this last stream was legit the best stream I'd ever seen. Like they were hilarious. They were roasting people. They were like actually going at it with the rules. Like they were rules checking stuff. Like it was a really good stream. They're really really coming along.
yeah, I did like the roasting part, like that commentary on that, and they're just giving it to Rob, like hands down. Like it's a good thing Rob won, so he could rub
Saw
it in their face. But like,
Saw
man,
Saw
relentless.
Gerrera, the Saw Gerrera commentary.
Oh man, yeah, that was just it was like when they said like I thought we banned aggressive tactics. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch and everything. I'm shocked. Crab Droids made it to the finals. You know, you guys watch our last ranking. I still stand by the F tier. I don't think they're good at all, but I could be the minority here. Be wrong. I'm okay with that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you are
So
wrong.
hey, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their wrong
That
opinion,
I
as I
was
say.
I was pumped about that because on all the pods, most of the pods, I've beaten the drum of pilot over unit. I've always said I'm anti-meta. You can take the best in slot all day long, but if you're gonna you can take the off meta, off best in slot stuff as long as it fits into your plan. And this was a key example of him not going with a bazillion other, and we've shown it, a bazillion other top tier CIS units, and he took three garbage crabs and made it work because those three garbage crabs could have been three decas and he could have had what, 30, 40 more points.
Sure, sure.
So this
I
was
just
prime example of pilot,
not
pilot, pilot.
not to go off tangent here, but like I just don't know how you guys justify that crabs are good when an ATRT, a clone ATRT, is cheaper than a crab droid.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're the greatest unit ever, but they're not F. They're not.
Sure,
They're
sure.
not. They're
That
not garbage. I
that
mean, but your 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 standard for your units is skewed quite
And
quite a bit.
they're
sure.
on
I agree with that.
the only thing that makes them the clone ATRT better is it's a full line of sight blocker because if you're throwing that their impact 3 gun or even their impact 1, we got impact at home launcher, and you just have them even just rolling dice at each other with the crab's long gun versus either of their heavy options, there's a good chance that ATRT is going to fall before the crab does because it can't share tokens. It has a smaller dice pool. I mean,
It's got an extra health.
yes, but it's firing two less dice
But you're talking about
and can't
survivability.
and can't
The
and it's
amount
two
of
less
dice
dice and can't share. Can't.
the amount of dice they shoot is irrelevant to their survivability. I mean, crab droids can't share dice either. I
Yeah,
mean,
but what I'm
tokens.
saying is
They can't share tokens.
but their gun is bigger.
I
I'll
think a,
take the bigger gun all day.
I think a better argument is comparing them against Rebel ATRTs because
Sure.
No, because
you're
Rebel ATRTs have white saves
but
and
that well no that's what I'm saying as a counter to JR saying they're so bad because crabs are not that much more points than a Rebel ATRT when you put the gun on them, and they're going to live so much longer because they have the red saves.
Isn't an ATRT
well, we made
55 with no upgrades?
Yeah, but you have to. It has no gun though. You have to
yeah,
spend. You have to got to put something
they
on
need it.
them.
They don't have
Well,
a built-in rocket launcher. They need the
so
gun.
if
It
we do
just.
the heavy laser blaster, and we'll just throw on attack protocols. It's
But you need to throw on. But if you just throw on the laser cannon, the three dice, that's not throwing anything near what the crab is throwing. So
sure, but
That's my point.
if
with
you want to spend 20 points, so you could actually throw five dice. Now you're spending a lot more points.
And you're
so
trying
with,
to surge the crit.
with attack protocols and a heavy laser cannon, that's 88 points. For rebels, it's yeah, all you're doing is putting a gun on, which is the rotary. It's 70 points.
Yeah,
And that's what the crabs is starting at 70 points. And they
yeah.
have to take a protocol.
But
But
they're hoping that
but
that
that's
crit gets through and does stuff, whereas the crab's gonna get the impact every time into white saves.
But as Nick always said, impact doesn't really matter anymore.
On that matchup, it does.
I think it only matters on armor 5, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it matters.
But yeah, again, I could be the minority here and I could have my wrong opinion. I don't know. Crabs just irk me so bad. But
They're not your play
anyways,
style. It's okay. You
it's
can
not that
say
they're not my
that.
play style. I just had high hopes. I mean, don't get me wrong. In this building, I'm trying to make them work. Like I was trying to do a list where I can make Geonosian scout, move, shoot. And then I was just like, but I could just take Grievous and do a move 2, move, shoot. Like, get these crabs
But
out of here.
they're eating a wound for that. You're talking about with
Sure,
Ruthless,
sure.
right?
They are eating a
Yeah.
wound for that, but I mean,
Yeah, and Geos need
uh,
every wound they can get. We saw your game at LVO, bro.
that's arguable.
When those dice don't hit and they take fire, they need all the bodies.
Well, they need the firepower, no doubt about that. But again, it's just my wrong opinion. But moving on, we're gonna go over heavies. So let's get that up. Oh, before we go to that, so I just realized there was a special forces we didn't rank. Do you know what special forces I'm talking about?
I wasn't here, so
That's true. Nick wasn't here.
let's let me look at the list. Let me see if I can
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay.
Uh, hmm.
Well, Nick looks that up.
Yeah, I guess you could try to think of it too, Jose.
You talking about the Pathfinders that no longer exist?
No, they're not in the game no more. So only things that are legal now.
I don't know. What do we forget? We
I
covered the important ones.
I will give you. Let me know when you guys want a hint. I'll give you a hint. The hint will give it
I
away.
don't. It's Nick. I don't care.
Go for it. Go for it.
The hint is that you have to take a unit in order to play these guys.
The detachments?
It's a detachment. Yes, it is.
Oh, did
What
you not do one of
sniper?
the snipers?
No, no, no. We did the snipers. You have to take a force user in order to play this unit.
Are you talking about the droids, the seeker droids?
The Sith probe droids. Yeah,
Oh,
See,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So let's rank that guy.
That's not really a unit, but
Yeah, it's really not. But I mean,
it's
it's
act padding. That's what it really is.
well, it's got some play, right? Because it's got incognito. It can get to a point. It observe three is okay.
What's the point
Uh,
cost on it? Like 35 points?
yeah, yeah,
Act
35 points.
padding
yeah.
and an already act padding army.
So then, where would you place it?
I said C.
See,
See,
okay, Nick, would you where would you place it?
yeah, probably C.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
You and speaking of that, you totally blew it on the Rebel Commandos. Why are they not an F?
Well, why do you think they're an F?
They do nothing. They do nothing.
I
Do you
mean,
think they'd
that's
be better as core
hold on,
units?
hold on. If you're gonna get on me about crab droids,
They do
I feel like
nothing.
crab droids do nothing too.
Crab
I,
droids don't die in one shot.
that's debatable. In that
No,
last game with
they
I've
don't.
had one,
Rom,
Nick. I've had one shot.
They
I've had one
they don't
shot.
die in one shot from like B1s. Anything could one shot Rebel Commandos.
well, I don't know, man. I was just like, Commandos. I don't know. Again, it's your fault though, because you weren't here, so you have
Yeah.
yourself to blame.
Yeah.
I would have put the probe droids in B just because they have some usefulness. But again, they have to be attached to a force user, so it's not that great. But C sounds like a good fit. All right. So first one we got on the docket, we're going over the heavies. I feel weird about this list because heavies are unique in the sense that they seem to do a lot, but at the same time they don't. But each unit is very unique in the sense that it really matters when it comes to their army, right? So the first one we got is in two factions or factions because one's a battle force. Uh, we're gonna go over the Shadow Collective AA5. Now, I personally think this is an S tier unit because of the Shadow Collective. They don't have very many options, and that's all they can take. And the healing of Black Suns, the Mandalorians, like it's not that bad, and it's cheap, which is good for a relatively heavy costed battle force. So that's my opinion. What do you think, Nick?
I wouldn't go S.
Okay.
I mean, I could go with A. I think it's probably an A unit, but S is supposed to be, for top tier, maybe almost game breaking units like you take every time and there's a you never leave them out. Um, I don't think it's S. I think it's A because kind of going what you just said, JR, about heavies, they kind of sometimes don't do a lot, sometimes they do. I think what heavies is what the kind of funny thing about heavies. I think heavies is probably the one unit that is most skewed by whatever meta we're currently in.
Sure.
We either go we ride like a roller coaster of where heavies are up and down in our meta, where you see a lot, then they disappear, then they come back and they disappear. Um, but I would say A.
Okay. All right, Jose, what do you think?
I sorry, Nick. I gotta put it in S. The reason I say it's S is because the base is one of the rare bases that can tag two POIs most of the time if you position it right. When you said like it's something that you have to take, like you can't, paraphrasing, you can't leave at home. I've yet to see a Shadow Collective faction army list that doesn't have two of these things. Ollie won Worlds with two and played against EXD, broke the meta because he went with the anti-meta pick. You got our buddy Brad, who religiously plays buses, Mandos, and just the utility of the transport for Black Sun. The with the way the game was probably not now. I haven't played with the new line LOS area terrain yet, but prior to that change, you could really get effed by a map that just did not provide you any type of option. Even in JR's game at LVO, Austin. Was it Austin? No, it was, yeah, it was Austin.
Yeah, it was
Who
awesome.
had the buses, using the buses to block out line of sight for JR to get easy
Well, now you're
shots.
talking about rebel buses,
With
though.
Hmm.
Now you're
Yeah,
talking about
okay,
rebel
okay, well,
buses.
my
yeah,
bad. I'm just buses because there's no real big difference between the two, honestly. They both do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, to me, it's one of those things where when you look at an S tier unit, it's something that you can't leave home without, or very minimally leave home without. And in the Shadow Collective faction, I run Mandos all the time, and it's just the bus is such a valuable piece. I mean, if you can knock that bus, I mean, the Mandos start falling.
It's valuable, but it's not
I mean, one
so
unit being able
pow
to lock up two POIs is very important.
Yeah, but that's only on what, one of the missions, two, right? They can't do it
yeah.
on all of them. Um,
Depending on shifting priorities, you
yeah,
could
well,
Well, that's the
yeah,
second
make
one.
it that
but
way.
anyone could lock up two on that one, technically.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They
because they
can.
move. They
Hmm.
move.
Yeah,
Um, Here's the other reason why I would say A. I'm okay if you guys both want to keep it in S. Here's the other reason why I'd say A. It's easy to kill. This thing
sure.
does not stay on the board if you don't want to. Anybody, all armies can take this off the board. It's not hard to kill.
Yeah, I understand your point, Nick. Like, I almost want to put it in A as well, but I feel like since Shadow Collective doesn't have a lot of options, like
Until we get
you're
the
you're
boat.
yeah, you're always seeing this in every Shadow Collective list because of the limited options.
But that doesn't mean it's S just because you have limited options, right?
Well, I mean, in the sense of its efficiency for
Because
the battle points.
because technically every army has limited options on heavies, right? We only have three options on some of these factions, so we're limited on our options.
Sure.
Um, so I don't know if I would consider that.
Well, the
But
Shadow
there's
Collective is the only option.
It's their
yeah,
only
there's
option,
It's the
but
only,
that doesn't
yeah.
mean that doesn't. Yes, I don't.
It's hard. I because like I'm with you. I'm on the
Yeah.
fence of going to A, but it's like you get to put the medic in it. You
Why
get the
why are
shields.
Shadow Collective units even in this? They're not a faction.
my
Well, because it's technically a heavy.
my thing is there is limited options heavy wise across all factions, but let's be real. Some factions just their heavies are just gathering dust, not non-playable.
Yeah. So, well, moving on. The next one is the Rebel AA5. And Nick, do you still stay strong on putting it in A?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I put in A. Yeah, it's 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 good. It's good. But they did take the gonk away. Um, it has a lot of uses, but again, I can't put something in S that can just be removed from the table that
Sure.
easily. And it's not necessarily anything that you're afraid of being across the board from. I mean, your opponent knows it's going to do things, but it's not something they technically have to worry about per se. They're worried about other things, right? In the rebel list. It's not it this is unit is not necessarily what's going to win you the game. It's going to help you win the game, but it's not winning you the game.
See, and that's where I think is why it deserves S tiers because for 65 points, you get
Oops.
yeah, you get a 8 health truck that's a moving line of sight, armor 5. Like, sure, I do agree with you that's easy to shoot off, but that's committed axe shooting at it where your other stuff's not getting shot at, right? And that's huge.
Sure,
It can afford to die, right?
sure. I guess I have a problem maybe putting. I guess I'm curious what else you think is S then because I'm also I have a little problem saying this rebel unit is S when
Mm,
rebels aren't winning with
sure.
this, right? They
Well, I mean, it did
They
win
won
LVO.
LVO.
it had yeah no yeah exactly it had its one day in the sun when sleepers came out, right? Since
Mhm.
then, nothing. I mean, even in look at Worlds, there was what, five rebel lists in the top eight, and they all just plummeted. They all just crashed and burned. They couldn't finish. So I don't think I don't think it can be S.
Okay. All right, Jose, where do you want to put this one?
This one, I'm not giving it an S, because it's in. So when the difference between this one and the other one is the other one has more bang for its buck, in terms of efficiency and saving red save hard hitting units. This thing is literally here for one reason, and it's just to let their sleeper cell come up and not worry about getting shot off the board. I feel like in Rebels, playing against Rebels, there's a lot of stuff in the faction that can be one shot, and you can't put everything behind a bus. Um, it's just there for a most of the time for a blanket cover for sleeper cell and for Rebel Bad Batch if you take it. It doesn't have the, what costs more, bringing back a 18 point mini or bringing back a 9 point mini in terms of, value per heal. Um, and that's just my take. It's healing less bang for its buck units if it even does get it off, but most of the time it's just there to ensure that the sleeper cell doesn't get, harassed in a lane that it doesn't want to be.
So you want to put this where again?
A.
A. So yeah, I would still want to put this as S because I just think for the price, it's affordable and it has so much upside to it. Like the upgrades of, the medic, you could put a gun on it. It's a walking LOS pretty much. It soaks up wounds, it's kind of wants to die so your other things can live for the late game. Um, but and like Rebels can afford this, right? To act pad even so more compared to their other heavies, but we'll go with A on that one. Um, okay. Air speeders. Jose, what do you think of air speeders?
I love air speeders. I have been a big fan of air speeders, but they're not great.
Why do you think that?
It's a white save cover 2 to 3
Cover one.
unit or one.
Mhm.
Cover one.
Cover one.
Well, when you put the oh sorry, two. When you put the speeder jockey on, it's two, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so cover two, and once again, it's in a faction that they'd rather take the bus in almost every point in the game. In any rendition, I mean, when's the last time we've seen air speeders taken seriously in Rebel anything in the top anything? And the amount of dice that just get thrown in this game, like this thing gets eaten alive with only 6 wounds. You'll
7.
get one good shot off maybe, but after that, it's just downhill from there. But the
Um,
grappling hook seems fun. But
so you wanted to put this in where?
I want to say, there's a unit in here that I'm gonna put lower, so I'm gonna put them in C.
See? Okay. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, this one I struggled with. So is it weird to say that I feel like this unit is bad, but better if you take two? Um, but still not good, but it's better if you take two. But if you just take one, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, they're just still too expensive
yeah.
for for what they do. Yeah, they just die way too easy. Um,
They'll get one good shot off.
yeah, maybe. The other problem I think is a big they we rebels struggle with is order control, right? Where are you putting your orders? Now HQ uplinks are two pipped, right? So you have to decide where you're going to put your HQ uplinks. You can't put them everywhere, if you wanted to. So these things are probably not within order. They're not going to go when you want them to. Yeah, I think they're D.
D. Whoa.
Yeah.
So, I agree with a lot of the points that you guys said. The main point for me is it's too expensive for what it does. I think it has a lot of great keywords. It has very good damage output. But again, just like you had pointed out, Nick, Rebels don't have a lot of order control. So if these things can't go when they need to go, then they're just gonna
Hmm.
die. And you're right, you have to take two, right? And for two of them at 125, well, that's 250. It just it's you got better options like the
Does
AA5, for example.
does the
Um,
grappling hook still turn the unit? I forgot. I
yeah,
know they
it
changed.
does. It does still
And
turn it.
so
Yeah.
that to me is a big oof because they just gave everything free reposition. So it doesn't really matter the
Well, it
turning
gives it
point.
an immobilized now, right?
Mobilized 2 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
mobilized as
See,
well.
that's I didn't know that.
That
Okay.
was a
Well,
new
maybe.
thing. It's
Yeah.
still not good
Yeah.
because you have to be not looking at your target. It's out the rear. It's only range 2. So
Do you think do you
you
think
you you should be
AMG should
you should be looking at the vehicles to
do
shoot
you,
at them.
you know how you get the ground buzzer as an option?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think it'd be worth it if AMG dropped the points on the ground buzzer and gave it overrun instead?
No, I think if they gave the ground buzzer like free, I think it's worth it.
Free.
I even
Yeah.
think if they lower the
But
airspeeder, like the
overrun,
overall lowering the airspeeder price, I think then there's an argument to take it because now you're shooting behind you and in front of you, which could be effective, but you know.
you don't think overrun would help though? Like being able to just run over something with your compulsory or your speed three, like you're gonna be able to run over things and to give the buzzer overrun. I
Well,
mean,
I think thematic wise, you're not really overrunning
Yeah.
anything, you know, because you're decently in the air. Um, so I think that's why they don't put overrun on the airspeeder.
Yeah. And I feel like they should have cover 2,
Sure,
namely.
without the jockey. Well, then the
Yeah.
jockey kind of becomes obsolete then.
Well, no,
cover
you could
three.
still put the jockey in the speeder truck, the land speeder. The jockey's not just for the air speeder; it can go on all the
Sure,
heavies. So
sure.
it's just not needed on the air speeder. You could put the sharpshooter pilot or something or wedge, right? You don't used to put something different.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I
I mean, they're
mean,
so high up you can't see them. They're in the clouds. They
that,
should also, they should also. This is actually another thing. They should be speeder 3 as
what?
well. If Jedi's can now jump 2, air speeder should be speeder 3. They should be able to go over height 3 terrain.
But to be fair, I feel that's a little bit redundant because they don't. There's not a whole lot of cover or height three stuff.
Sure, but if there was some, I'd like to go over it.
Sure, sure. But on that note, when does Jedi's get jump too?
Doesn't Ahsoka and Asajj both have jump 2? Am I
Jump
not
two.
Yeah,
remembering
you're
that?
correct on that. I thought you were implying that all of them got that.
No, but
Oh, okay.
the new ones they've started to
Yeah,
make have been getting jump 2, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. They have been. Yeah. So I'm gonna. Yeah, you know what, Nick, you convinced me. I think I'm gonna go with D, just because
yeah.
it's just too expensive and order control is the main issue there, and you got to take two, which becomes very pricey. Um, all right, land speeder. Nick, what do you think of the land speeder? I know you've ran it a couple times. They're really good at being a nuisance, but how
Mhm.
efficiency do you think they are?
Um, I wouldn't use the word efficient because you're you're bringing them to die. So I don't know how efficient that could be. I don't know if you could be considered efficient when you're pretty much always bringing the upgrade to shoot twice and damage yourself. Um, so I wouldn't say efficient. They are fun to play. They are fun to play. Um, they're good. They're good. I wish their dice pool was better. Their dice pool, even though they can throw a, a few dice, it's not that great, right? There's a lot of white in there. Um, and their rocket launcher is way too expensive. That Rainbow Impact 2 is so overpriced for that. And it kind of what we've talked about before. All of the rocket launchers are probably too expensive. I think that Rainbow Impact 2 is overcosted kind of across the board.
Mhm.
But they are a decent unit. They're not it's not a bad unit for sure. But they do die, so they're not going to stay on the board long if people want them gone. Um, and their dice can be finicky. So I've played them, and sometimes they hit, but then sometimes you roll those dice and they don't do nothing. Even with the unstable astromech, I've done shot and done the unstable, and then like nothing is killed. So that could happen as well. And they also again suffer from the order control. But they're definitely better than the airspeeder because they're not as expensive. Although they can get pricey. When you put the rocket launcher and another gun on, they're like 140 points. They're expensive.
They're probably about 100 and
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I did the MK Mark II medium blaster and then the rocket gunner. That's 97 points
mhm.
right there.
Yeah, then you need to throw in the unstable astromech and then the rocket as well.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, generally you want all that dice. You want
You
it
want
all to
the
make it worth
boom.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah. But hmm, I would say they're a B unit though.
Interesting. I
I
didn't
would
think
say
you were
they're a
gonna say
B.
B.
I would
Okay.
say a
Okay.
B. Yeah,
All
I
right.
would
All
say a
right.
B. Maybe
So
maybe that's high, but I don't know. I feel like for Rebels, um, they're a good unit.
I was gonna say, like when I played against you with them, I found them very annoying. And I
Hmm.
think you put the pilot that gave it the extra cover. So cover two, armor two, it's taking a little bit more of effort to shoot them down. Like, don't get me wrong, they'll definitely die, but I'm definitely committing a lot more than I would like to kill them, right? So I think that efficiency is something in itself, and then the fact that it costs, relatively cheap. I mean, again, it gets expensive when you start adding things. Um, but I do agree with you. I think that it still has a nuisance play that, can be very annoying. That I feel like it's like the staps where you can either deal with them or not deal with them. But if you don't deal with them, it's that poke that just keeps poking you and you start getting upset. Like at first, a couple times, it's not that annoying, but then you keep doing it and you just get upset about it. Um, so for that reason, I do agree with you. I think it's going to be a B tier unit. What about you, Jose?
B for boom, because they get in there with that pilot, and I have lost full 5 to 6 man phase two troopers to this thing. So yeah, I mean, Rennick's right. It does have it can miss, but maybe it's just a my luck thing because every time these things get in, they go boom, kill something, and then it takes me a bazillion shots to take them off the board.
Yeah,
So they to me B. I'm down with that. And they're lower than the airspeeder, so they're not as visible as the airspeeder.
Yeah.
sure.
And I was just thinking about the points I mentioned. I'm probably thinking old points because I'm thinking about when I would put all that on them and the Gonk Droid and HQ uplink, and then they get pretty pricey.
Oh yeah. Well, even with the Gonk Droid on it, like then it
Yeah,
becomes really
yeah,
nuisance,
yeah. Well, we lost the Gonk, so we don't have that
Yeah,
anymore. But
yeah.
yeah.
All right, moving on to the most expensive Rebel unit, despite what Nick thinks. Chewbacca in the Bright Tree Village Battle Force. What do you think, Jose?
I have never seen this thing on the table.
Yeah,
I
you
have
have.
never. When?
I played it
I'm
against you
when?
when we went to. I was right when 2.6 dropped. I went to your house and I played Ewoks and I had this AAT. You did one. You painted one for me, and every time you paint something for me, what do? I turn around and I play it.
I I painted one for you. I don't remember
Yeah,
playing against it.
yeah. It was at your
Well,
house.
then I guess it didn't do much if I don't remember much. I was more worried about the Ewoks that were rudely harassing Bosk.
Mhm.
Um, I to be honest, I'm telling you right now, I don't remember it being played against me. If you brought Ewoks, and yeah, I would say you obviously probably did bring it. I don't remember playing like I don't remember it doing anything to be honest, like from my memory. And I've never seen anybody really bring it or use it. I mean, I don't even remember our game, so I think if I can't remember any of that, I don't think it's a good thing. But I know it's a core piece for that faction, I would assume. But then again, even LVO when I played against Ewoks, they didn't have the guy that I played that made top eight didn't bring it. Um, so I would say it's better than an airspeeder. So see,
Uh, yeah, I think I agree with you, Jose. I think it's a C tier unit, because now it has incognito, which is huge. But the thing is, this has firepower, so you want to be shooting with it. You don't want to be inching your way up the field. I think you want to be shooting still turn one with this thing, losing the incognito. The problem is that it's expensive. Now, Bright Tree can afford it because the Ewoks are relatively cheaper. But at that point, you just want to spam more Ewoks than run Chewie. But again, this is a fun unit to play because I played it a couple times and I have fun with it. But I don't think it's that efficient, and so I would put it in C tier as well. What about you, Nick?
Um, this is F. It's F. It's
F
F.
tier.
Yep, you just said it, JR. Why would an Ewok? Why should an Ewok player bring this unit?
Sure.
Why? There's unless you're just wanting to have fun, but we're talking about like from a more competitive standpoint, right? There is absolutely no reason to bring this in a competitive Ewok list. You're spending 108 points that you could just be bringing more Ewoks.
Sure.
That's the whole point.
Mm.
There is zero reason to bring this unit. It is F.
I mean, granted, in a competitive standpoint, you are correct. But in a fun standpoint, like you put this on the table, it still does a good job doing its thing.
But I'm not going to consider that though, because if I consider that, well, I can say it's S tier because I have fun with it, right?
I mean,
If
this unit screams Nick all over it.
but I don't like really playing the bright tree really. But
Yeah, fair,
yeah.
fair.
No, you can keep it in C if you want, but this is F. This is F because again, there's no reason to bring it, right? That's what we're talking about. Bringing the units.
Mhm.
It's what does it do, right? Is it the right unit to bring? This is not the right unit to bring.
Yeah.
It is 0%. It's 0% bring.
I want you guys to look at this unit because I guarantee you this is how all of the future, Grievous on a wheel bike, Luke and Han on Tauntaun is going to be just like this.
No.
Yeah, literally, all this unit is. It says
Yeah.
Chewbacca. How
Yeah.
can you not think this is not going to be that way?
Yeah, they'll be like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll just be support units, heavy
No.
units with that character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Yep.
Why I'm curious, why don't you think it'll be that, Jose?
Because so when you compare like the units that are like so Chewie, like Chewie is just the name of the character that's on this thing. Nothing about that unit says Chewbacca. It is literally just an ATST that
It has
can't take any
Chewbacca in its
upgrades.
name.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. Other than that, like if this thing and you call it overpowered, I'll agree to that. But if this ATST had Guardian, then we're having a different conversation because that's Chewie. Chewie's a Guardian. In any form, Chewie's a Guardian. Chewie with Yoda, Chewie's a Guardian. Chewie in Rebels, Chewie's a Guardian. This is literally just an ATST with incognito, and you can't take any upgrades on it. That's all it is.
Well, it's not
Um,
just the incognito, right? It's also has the uniqueness of having Inspired 3 on it, right?
that's fine.
And
It's
it
still
does surge to crit. That is a big deal, right? Because none of the other ATSCs do that. I don't think the Mark Major one does.
no, but the
Yeah.
other ATSTs get to take more firepower with better
No, they
clearing
don't.
stuff.
It's the same output. I mean, the only thing they don't have is the long range mortar.
Yeah, they have all the other
Arsenal.
guns, yeah.
They have
No.
They have Arsenal too.
Yeah, so you can do Arsenal 3.
4.
4. If you take Weiss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's a big difference.
that's different. That's Weiss, right?
Yeah.
That's the
No, but I was-
No.
but I was just
But my
saying-
point is comparing it to Grievous and Luke because Luke, you're telling me that Tauntaun isn't gonna have speed 3, charge with deflect and a lightsaber? Get the hell out of here!
No, I don't think it will. It won't.
Oh, you are foolish.
Wait. Why do you think it will? Luke never used a lightsaber on his Tauntaun. He never did. He never used a lightsaber on a Tauntaun. There's no reason why he would.
When did and if it's been a while, when did Luke use his hand blaster?
He least
No, but when did he use it? Because the Luke on the Tauntaun had his lightsaber. Because guess what? How did he get inside the Tauntaun with his bare hands? Get out of here!
I mean, he had it, but I don't know.
I can
if
make that argument.
He hadn't even trained with it yet.
What did he use to cut the Wampa's hand off with? A lightsaber. So yes, Luke may have not have been on the Tauntaun when he used the lightsaber, but he had the lightsaber with him,
I
and he
don't
did use it
know.
to cut the Wampa's hand. That's already way more than Luke ever on screen using a blaster. But yet Commander Luke has a blaster. Stop.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. I don't think he'll be a
And
lightsaber.
I'm even gonna go out on a limb and say that the rolling magnet guards, because you know they're gonna be rolling with Grievous. You know that Grievous is gonna have entourage roller skate Magnas. And what do Magnas have? They're gonna have Guardian.
Roller skate Magnus.
Okay, so once again,
So no, I
it
don't. I disagree with you. I'm with Nick on this one. I think there is going to be. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you also, Jose, that there is going to be some characteristics that's going to be on that Tauntaun for that Luke. Like I can see the Tauntaun having deflect, right? But I definitely don't see Magnus having Guardian. I don't see. I think Tauntaun's melee will upgrade a little bit to like include the lightsaber, but not be
you
the
think
actual lightsaber.
you think Han and a Tauntaun isn't gonna have Gunslinger?
No, arguably it might, but again,
If Han and a Tauntaun is gonna have Gunslinger, there's no reason why Luke on a
I
Tauntaun isn't gonna have his lightsaber.
I hope it doesn't. I actually hope it doesn't. I don't want a copy of the
It's gonna
same
change.
unit. I don't
It's gonna replace all the Lukes. It's
I
gonna
don't
replace all the Lukes.
I don't want the same character with the same keywords. I want something different. So I hope it
Yeah, you
doesn't. I hope Han has none of the same keywords. I hope Luke has none of the same keywords. I want some different keywords. I want a unit that does something different. That's more fun. I don't want
but
just a repeat of the
that's
same
a
unit.
that's a Nick thing because everybody's pumped for Luke and Han and a Tauntaun.
you know what I want? I want for Grievous. I want Grievous to have Courage 3. There we go. Problem solved.
No, he's a scaredy cat. He's not gonna have courage three. You're lucky he doesn't have
He-
courage one.
He's gonna be in a vehicle. He's gonna have no courage and a
Yeah,
breakpoint.
there'll be no courage. Yeah, it'll be a break
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see.
It'll be a
W-
I'm
a
telling
break
you.
point of one.
sure, sure.
Let's get out of here.
Just instantly breaks down. All right.
Telling you.
So, moving on, we actually have the actual ATST. So, Jose, where do you think an ATST should be? Empire's suffering a little bit right now, but
I
where
don't
do
know.
you think?
They just won Kublai Khan. They're doing fine.
But it didn't. The
Hey,
ATST wasn't
hold
affected.
on. It wasn't the Empire faction, it was an Empire battle force. So technically the
Is
faction
that the
still
only way Empire can win nowadays? Is the battle
that,
forces?
yeah, I haven't seen an Empire faction actually win. It's been Blizzard Force and now with Rob's amazing victory, it's been Remnant. So I think that for Empire to win, they need to break more rules. Or maybe AMG should have just gave us a different force org that they should told us we were getting. You know, let Empire take some stuff and other things that they can't take normally. I mean, that's just a thought. No, I love the ATST. I have a custom ATST with the sticker that says, if you don't like my driving, dial 1-800 kiss my ass on the side of it. And I love it. The problem is I don't, as much as I love the ATST, it's not solving anything for the Empire. Um, I think if you're gonna take an ATST, it's like the speeder situation. You got to take two of them, and then if you're taking two of them, they both got to have hammer pilots. And if they have hammer pilots, you want to take them with Veers, and then that's already like 500 points, 300 points, 400 points of nonsense. Love them for what they do. They draw eyes to a Legion table. You know, every time I put an ATST on the table, I've had people, "Oh my God, it's an ATST." Yes, yes, it is. It's just I'm gonna put it right there with the airspeeder. And the only
D
reason I'm not
tier.
put, yeah, I'm not put. The only reason I'm not putting it with an F is because there's another unit that deserves to be there. But nah, this is D. As much as I want to not put it there, it just if you're gonna spend that much on that, you might as well bring darks, or you might as well not bring a heavy and just bring more special forces units, or buff up your slot machine stormtroopers, or bring Vader. Like there's just no room in today's current meta for the ATST, sadly.
So I actually want to combat that a little bit. I want to put it in C tier. The reason why is because it's a walking turret. You just put it on a POI, and it could effectively shoot pretty much the whole table, right?
with the
Um,
mortar.
well, I mean, minus the mortar, right? Because you only want to do the triple rainbows essentially, and then have the hammer pilot. But if you
But
put
then
this
that's
thing on
not
a
the whole table.
well, sure. But I mean, again, I'm over exaggerating a little bit. But if you put this thing on a POI, like your opponent has to deal with it, right? And that's 11 health behind armor 5. It's white dice,
You,
sure. And it can be killed if it gets focus fire. Um, but
my thing with
that's
that is the change to LOS. You can put it back there, but if there's a piece of LO, like for instance, Nick's X-Wing. That thing is a straight up line of sight blocker now. So Nick likes to plant that thing in the middle of every map I've ever seen Nick use it on. So if you want to put the ATST on a back point
but I argue
and
that the ATSC can see over the X-Wing, right?
nah,
It
because you just
could.
gotta.
Yeah.
You think it
Yeah.
could?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
bad example then.
depending on
Just
the angle, depending on how close the infantry
um.
unit is to
Well,
it's
the
to
thing
it.
is, you gotta remember the line of sight blocking rules for area terrain now is the highest point
Yeah.
Yeah, but
of
most
anything.
most
So
things that are being area terrain line of sight blocking isn't higher than ATST.
yes, it's not. But for instance, like here's a line of sight blocker. Your ATST's up here, but if my guy's tucked in right here, you're not going to see the silhouette.
Well, sure, sure,
That
but
that's what I'm
again,
saying. Like
when you
it's
plant
a
this on a
diff.
POI, your opponent can't ignore it because that's one unit already contesting a POI.
It depends on where the other POIs are. If the other POIs are safely hidden, yes, you can. The whole game of heavies since
Like,
Star Wars has inception has been what? What do you do to heavies on the board? Since Star Wars has been born, Legion, what has always been the golden rule when there's a heavy on the board? If you don't have impact to deal with it, you
yep,
ignore it.
right, but now we're playing in a game where you can't ignore this, right? Because arguably this is one of the fastest heavies in the game because of its speed too. That could cover a lot of area because of its base size, right? And granted, you normally do want to ignore heavies if you don't have the impact, but that's still 1 to 0 on a POI. So you got to add in two guys if you want to at least take over the POI. Again, this is just it's expensive.
But and I'm saying in your
Yeah.
example, you said leave it on a back POI. So if you're
No,
gonna
no, I
leave
didn't
it,
say a back POI. I just said leave it on a POI.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Just like it can get to a POI, pretty good distance. It's just at that point, can you make it and keep it alive with having your whole army contributing while it's
I
getting
mean, if
shot at?
that was the case, when we see more of them like Aquas, wouldn't we see
No,
more
no,
of
no,
them
no.
like
We'll get to
buses?
Aquas in
No,
a
I'm just
moment.
saying,
But the reason why we
relatively.
see again, the reason why we see more buses than ATSC is the price point, in my opinion.
Okay, so why isn't Empire taking? Why are we seeing Empire players not taking them?
The price
If
point,
they're that efficient, why are we not taking it? Why are we not seeing
because the
Empire
Well,
price
take
point.
them?
C is not efficient. You said
Right.
C, right,
Yeah.
JR?
Yeah, I said C. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's C. I think ATSC or C. Yeah,
Before
they're
or after Chewbacca?
well before for sure because
Yeah.
Chewbacca should be an F.
Any more elaboration you want to do on that, Nick?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think it's C. It's not a great unit right now, but it still can uh interact with the table. It can still kill units. It can score. Um, you know, it's still useful in Tempest, right?
Yeah.
You could play Tempest and put a lot of these on the table, and that is still something that is scary for
It's a lot
players to
better.
deal with.
It's a lot better in Tempest
Yeah,
because of
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
what the battle force brings to it, not
yeah,
necessarily the
yeah.
faction.
So
Which
I
on
I
Go
say
ahead.
C.
Yep. On that note, Major, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Marquard,
Marquard,
Marquard.
Lord
Um,
Marquard.
Major Marquard. I'm split. I want to put this in C because it's just an ATST with extra stuff on it. But I feel like that extra stuff and you can only take this in the battle force, which means I feel like that makes it more efficient. Makes me want to put it in B,
Mm,
because that direct vehicle is really good, And the Scout 2 you get from the Battle Force is arguably one of the best things about that Battle Force. And the good news is you don't have to upgrade this with anything. You have to put nothing on it. But even if you were to deck out the other ATST, assuming you're just taking the double rainbow, link targeting array, and the hammer pilot, its major Markwad is still more expensive than that. So that's why I want to put it in C because it's still a little bit too pricey for me.
Yeah, I think it's C. I don't think it's enough to go up to B. It's too much of a skew.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Jose?
I'm gonna put it in C once again. I've never played against it. I've never seen it played. I've never seen it brought. I've seen you put pictures of people you playing it, I think. But once again, it falls into that if I can't really put anything higher than an airspeeder if I don't see it. I mean, yeah, it gets all these cool things and it has direct vehicle, but you know who else has direct vehicle and is way cheaper, Veers. Um, you know who can bring two decked out ATSCs, Veers. Uh, yeah, you and Tempest, you're limited to what? Your troopers, was it your scouts are what your big thing is, and
Yeah,
scouts aren't that
scouts.
great. Yeah, scouts aren't that great. I rather if I'm taking an ATSC, I rather have with and I need direct, I'd rather have Veers two ATSCs and Storms with T21s. But I can't once again I can't put it I can't put it with the airspeeder because the airspeeder is god awful, but I can see it and see.
All right, moving on. We got the lat. Now, Daniel swears up and down
Ugh.
this unit, and he arguing wants to put in the S tier. I don't know. I'm convinced. The one time I played it, I ran a very melee skewed list, so it was very effective against my list. However, that being said, for 100 points, Armor 5, Arsenal 2, Cover 1, Hover Air 2, immune to blast melee when weapons range 1, and it also has a transfer keyword. Uh, I think it has some legs. Uh, because I don't have much experience playing against this and not playing it myself, having that much experience, I'll, I think it's B tier. I think it can cover a lot of ground. I think it can, with the Arsenal 2, you can shoot, the rockets like high energy shells or the impact grenades, and then your two reds and two black, which is nothing to sneeze at. Um, so yeah, I think yeah, I don't think it's dying as fast as most of the other white save heavies in my opinion. Because yeah, what do you
I
think?
don't I don't think you can put a unit in B tier that nobody plays because it's bad. That makes no sense. You can't tell me this thing is good when every tournament there's not a single one in it. And there are a lot of bad units in some of these tournaments, and no one brings this one. Um, yeah.
You don't value the transport? You don't think the transport's good?
I don't think Empire really has a use for it right now, right?
Wait,
They
this
don't
is
really.
the
This is the
Imperial
Empire,
one, not the
Imperial
Gar
one.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Imperial,
sorry. Yeah,
Imperial.
this is the
It's
Empire one.
Imperial.
Yes.
Okay, then my
Um,
vote's gonna change then.
um,
Mm,
there's not really a great use for the transport for Imperial, right? At least right now. I don't think we've
right.
seen a really great use because what they used to always transport, they can't do anymore, right? They always would
Mm,
transport Vader
yeah,
or
yeah.
or their, or the
But
other Jedi.
it's only 100 points.
It is only 100 points, but see, but doesn't that speak more to how bad it is? That's only 100 points and people still don't bring it. Now, I'm not
You
saying
got
it's
you got to
like
remember you got to remember Nick. JR's barometer for good is how cheap it is, not necessarily how good. It
I,
being cheap makes it good.
yeah, which is not, which is I
It's
don't,
not. That's
yeah,
false.
yeah. I mean, it's not like D or anything, but I don't think it could be higher than C.
So okay, so you want to go see? Okay, all right. What about you, Jose?
As somebody who owns two of these, played them religiously, has lots of games with Vader, Death from Above, Double Snows, Flamethrower, Delivery. I can speak to this because I was once a lat believer. That being said, transport is not what it used to be. Not even just that it can't bring Vader, it can't bring an operative. You can no longer, from what I thought, is you can no longer keep things in them as long as you want. From what I remember, new rules is the minute the lat deploys or the minute transfer unit deploys, it vomits out the guy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
has come out.
Um,
Yep.
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 so
Yeah.
that honestly, I believe, I believe that was played wrong at was it Kubla? I believe it was played wrong at Kubla because I believe I have to rewatch it, but I believe Brad deployed the speeder bus, and left the unit inside. And they were saying it was a May on stream, and from my knowledge, it's not a May. It's if you are
Yeah,
going to
you have to spit
transport,
it out.
yeah,
Because
so it wasn't spit out, is my point.
yeah,
Um, I know that it gets if you transport something, it gets issued an order if you can. Other than that, that's the only difference is it gets spat out automatically. It's like a roided out scout. Um, so that being said, the old transport was I'm gonna leave my black sun in here till I can throw him out. And if and you know my worst case scenario is you blow him up with me inside, I lose one and I get a face down order token. Transport is no longer that. Transport is terrible. You can make it work, but doesn't make it less terrible. The loss of being able to dive bomb Vader. The most successful lat runs ever were with Vader. You look at Evan Bulrus when he made top was it four, top eight, top four with
Yeah,
Vader
but
lat.
that's all old Legion. So
Um,
who
that is
no,
cares?
but
that
Who
is
that's
old
what I'm getting.
Legion.
cares?
That's what I'm
But
getting
but
in.
who cares? That
I'm
none of
getting
that
into Nick,
matters.
Nick, Nick.
None
I'm
of that
getting into that.
matters.
So that at that time, bombing run, speed three pilot, this unit was S tier for me. S tier every day, all day. Give me my speed three TIE pilot. Give me my bombs. Give me my flamethrowers. Let me just run the table. All that is gone. All that is gone. Bombing run is gone. Transport is terrible. You cannot. I mean, if you could bring a big boy unit, like let me drop a double squad down. I'd say maybe, but no. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry as the lat believer from S to failure. F
F
failure.
F.
F
So
F F F.
we have we have a problem here, is we have a three-way where no one said the same answer twice. B, C, and F. So one of us has to compromise.
It's clearly not B. Stop it.
No, I that's what I was gonna say. I will gladly compromise. I definitely don't think it's F tier. I think it has some legs.
I'd be
Why
Daniel,
willing to
don't we see it?
well,
I'd be
that's what I
willing to go to D.
Because we
you'd be
don't we
willing to.
don't see
Well,
we
well,
don't see the
then someone's got to
airspeeders and
compromise going to D. Who else is gonna go to D? Jose, will you compromise with D?
I guess I'll do that just because there's no reason in something not being taken at all that's this bad. That there's I mean if I can't have F, I'll gladly it's a D minus at best. This thing is it's trash, it's terrible, it's horrible. They really need to relook at transport in general and they need to give us a damn game mode where we can use running away with things or get less like this unit is trash.
That's never coming back.
It's
D-
trash.
Daniel, you're gonna have to convince us that this unit is better than a D tier. That's what we're going with.
Trash, Daniel, trash.
All right. Well, I think this is my very first F tier unit, the Gav.
Let's just stop talking about it now. Just put it in F. All right, let's go to darts. Just put it in F. Just put it in F. There we don't even need to say anything.
Well, we
Let's go
do
to D.
gotta let the audience know why we think it's F tier.
Ugh.
I mean, Jose, do you agree with us that it's F tier?
No, it's a D tier.
Oh,
Oh
really? Why
no,
do you
it's
why do you think it's a
F.
D
It's a
tier?
D tier.
Why?
Um, it's just the utility. So here's the weird thing. Everybody says it doesn't shoot enough dice. It doesn't
Doesn't.
do any damage. Hold on,
Doesn't.
wait. Yes, but Nick, you want to scream that it doesn't do no damage, yet you don't take the Hammers pilot. Don't tell me
I've
that.
taken the Hammers pilot with it.
But
Yeah.
that nobody, everybody that I talk to is like, this thing doesn't do any damage. But I don't. I took another pilot other than Hammers. You gotta take a hammer's pilot with this thing. You gotta bump up the dice. It's a utility piece that I think people once again just I guess you play it once and you get a bad taste in your mouth, maybe. Because
So
most of the people that I've heard badmouth this thing, aside from possibly Roman, I've only seen them put it on the table once.
so
So
this
you
this
can't put it on the
thing
table once and then be like it's terrible.
I've put on the table more than once. So this thing, do you realize it actually just even got worse with the area train rules? This thing now shoots over even less things now because it's so low. It can't go over anything like all the constantly all I see now is all the other tanks driving over all the terrain over all the buildings because they changed the rules of what vehicles can go over and they can go over all that stuff now, but not this vehicle. This vehicle's still stuck to the ground and can't go over any of those, all the terrain. And now area is line of sight blocking. And the area train doesn't even have to be very high to block the line of sight to the cav. This thing sees now it saw very little things to shoot before. It sees nothing now. This thing has nothing to shoot. Nothing. It's
I've
F.
never had a problem shooting things with it. Like
Well,
that's
you
Have
haven't
you?
crazy.
also played with the
You
I
new.
have
haven't
not
I
played in
haven't played new I
2.6.
I
You
haven't
have
played I haven't well even before 2.6 I haven't played.
forget before.
No,
Forget
hold on.
this
Wait.
forget this magical
Nick.
land that you
Hold on,
used to
Nick.
live in. You don't live in that land anymore.
Hold
You
on,
live
Nick.
in this land.
I haven't played with the new line of sight blocking terrain, yes. But pre 2.6, there was no line of
But
sight blocking area terrain.
Have you
pre.
played?
Have
Have
you
you
played in
played with the Gav in
2.6? In
2.6?
No,
2.6.
not in
Okay.
2.6.
Okay,
But here's the
okay,
thing.
that's what
Okay.
matters. That's
But
what matters.
hold on.
Okay, go
Up
ahead.
until this last rendition of the rules, did line of sight was area terrain line of sight blocking? No.
Okay,
Yeah.
No, okay.
yeah,
What I'm
uh-huh,
saying is I can see where the new line of sight blocking rules can affect it.
uh-huh.
But to be honest, we played on super dense tables before with line of sight blocking buildings, fucking giant buildings. JR,
Language.
you know I'm the master of putting buildings where on my maps. Where do I put my buildings? Right in the where? Middle.
Hmm.
With a giant building, Nick, with a giant 3-story jump 3 building in my maps most of the time. I've never had a problem just driving yes, I'm gonna waste a move to drive somewhere to shoot something, but it comes down to if you're gonna take it, you're gonna make it work. If it, to
But
me, a line of sight blocking area terrain is no different than a line of sight blocking
the
building. I just
the
have to
problem
drive
with
around it.
that is that since the Gav and the Lat has lost their most efficient role in the game, which was transporting units safely, it's now just a shooting piece. And since
The
there's a lot
Gav
more,
never transported him
since there's
safely.
a lot more LOS now, it's effectively doing nothing.
But the Gav never safely trans. The Gav was open. You could
Sure,
shoot
But you
but I
whatever you
mean,
wanted in
you can
there.
still move pieces though. You can still
yeah,
take pieces down the board
right.
like you
And
can't do now.
especially with the you could put in the eWeb and then it loses fixed front, which was arguably the best thing it was good at doing. Yeah, it's just
eWeb Gav is
it's a
overrated.
very expensive unit that has a problem shooting because it's awkward base. And again, what Nick said, it's so low to the ground that a lot of LOS things are going to block it. And it's 125 points of just something that's not doing anything.
I believe it's a line of sight blocker though.
Uh, that's
And
debatable. But
no, but the thing the line of sight blocking does make a difference. Um,
again, you, again, this is why the AA5 is S tier is because it's a cheap LOS, whereas this is the
Stop
expensive
that. I
LOS.
hate
Yeah.
that you do that. Uh,
Again, you can hate it all you want, but that's why it's in its tier is because of the effect
Yeah.
of the
You,
cost of it.
it for the it in this one instance, JR is right, Jose, because
no.
because I don't want to use an expensive unit to block line of sight, right? That's not what I should be using an expensive unit for. it's okay that I'm using the A5 as a line of sight blocker because it's cheap, and it also doesn't even need to be looking at the thing. It needs to shoot. The Gav tank is not a piece that you're going to use to block line of sight for your troops because it's too expensive to be using for that, and you're not going to be turning it to then you can't shoot at things to block line of sight for your troopers. So that makes no sense to do that. You can't use it for that at all. It's F.
Yeah.
I'll say D. Like I said, I've used the gap plenty of times. I guess it just comes down to the way
Not
the
in
player
2.6
uses it.
though. So maybe we revisit this conversation when you start playing in 2.6.
Yep.
I mean, you got so much shit you want me to play.
Yes,
At this
Jose, I
point-
want
at
you
this
to
point-
play Star
But
Wars
here's the
Legion.
thing.
That's correct.
Jay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. No matter what I pick, I can run double Gavs, and if I win an event, you know what Jared's gonna say? That don't mean nothing. It's a small sample
Jose,
size.
if you win in an event, I'll
you
pick
win an
something
event-
for you.
If you
I'm-
win an
no, no,
event
I'm
with
just
double,
saying.
if you win an event with double gas,
No,
we'll
no,
crown you as
I'm-
king. Okay.
No. What
There
I'm
you
saying
go.
is, you cannot, and people don't. I'm not gonna get into it, but you cannot state that one event does not reference or show how great, good, or bad something is, and then tell me to go
Okay.
win an event by that same
You're going on a
conjecture.
tangent
It's
because
not a tangent.
it's a
'cause
tangent. You're
it
talking about
wouldn't
something
change your
totally
mind.
different.
No, it's not. It
Again,
would not change your mind.
again.
If I would June 22nd, I show up a double gav and I
If
win.
you
say
if
it's
you
good?
win an event
better
with a
than F?
double Gav list,
No,
you
no.
can
If
make my list for every event for the rest of the year.
If I go
For the
to
new
Legends on the
year,
22nd,
you can make my list for every tournament.
If I go, I'm asking you a question. If I take double gav to the June 22nd tournament and I win,
No. See, again, you want to go small scale, and you're lucky because I can't go to this June event one.
oh, because
But-
you're the only one that's there to stop me, really?
No, I'm just saying, VetFest, LVO, KublaCon, events like that. You take a double Gav list and you win. You can make my list for a whole year
That
for every
does not
tournament.
make any sense because Triple Crabs just made second place and you discredited the whole thing because
Again,
a small event.
again. That take
Oh,
double
there's
Gav.
no winning with him. There's no winning.
You're back. Anyways, we're moving on. We're on a tangent. Imperial Dark Troopers, our very own Legion lad Rob, took this to KublaCon, and arguably, Rob has been playing Dark Troopers since they came out. It's like his second favorite unit aside from Palpatine, so arguably his most favorite unit now.
I don't think Palpatine's a unit in Star Wars Legion.
Well, not anymore.
He's dead.
Yeah, I don't
gone.
think I remember that.
It's funny because I'm over here playing Fortnite with him, and it's okay to be in
Yo,
Fortnite, but not Star Wars
yo.
Legion.
When they inevitably bring Palpatine back, one of his
They're not
command
going
cards has to be somehow Palpatine is returned.
Tarkin. Tarkin is the new Palpatine. Okay, that's what annoys the living fire out of me.
Tarkin.
You don't
Yeah.
know that for sure.
Well, we do
yet.
know he has pulled the strings.
Do we
Assuming
Yeah.
he has
that?
pulled the
Yeah,
strings.
AMG said he has pulled the strings.
Hey, when did they confirm that?
AMG said Toad's attack was going to pull you towards you, and then they had poison. So who knows what?
AMG said
who
you're getting
knows-
AMG said you had a Geonosian battle force. AMG said
Sure,
we were
Yeah.
gonna
sure.
get
Okay, I'll give you that.
Till we see it.
I'll give you that.
Till
But
we see it.
Where's
But
our force arc changes?
there is evidence that time and time again they take something from one unit and
Yeah.
give it to another unit, and it's
it-
like, why?
And again, just giving Tarkin one keyword that Palpatine had doesn't mean that's now Palpatine.
I mean, I don't really see Tarkin pulling the strings, in my opinion. But I digress. We'll see if he actually gets
All
that.
right, Dark Troopers.
Imperial Dark Troopers. Yeah. So, where do you think this is go, Nick? What's your opinion on it?
I think the Dark Troopers are good. They are a little expensive for what they do, but having the 2 tokens is nice, especially since it doesn't count for units for the passing, right? So you
That's
can have
so
more tokens in your
stupid.
bag, but then get passes, which is pretty.
I think that's
pretty
gonna
cool.
get fixed, by the way.
I don't know. I think that's kind of by design. I don't think so.
No. That's
don't-
not the way that was meant to be used.
I don't know if AMG knows that tokens are a thing.
So they're dumb. Not that it should be that way. We're never
Um,
gonna get sponsored by AMG.
so I think yeah, this one's a tough one. I will say it's
Sure,
a tough one.
Sure.
They are probably, I would say B. I would say they're
So
B.
so I agree with you, Nick. I think this is a tough one. I think they're priced at the right price point. You know, because if you start spamming bodies in the Imperial Dark Troopers, they get that much harder to kill. Armor 3 is not nothing to sneeze about.
Sure.
Just like you said, the new pass mechanic is so damn good. And then let alone this is the one and only unit that gets to go twice in a turn. And that's huge. Again, shooting these guys does degrade their attack output, but I feel like you want these guys to be shot at to soak up the damage, and they can afford it. They are slow; they're only speed one, but again, they activate twice, so they could go two times and moving one speed one. And just the way Rob plays them, he makes very good use of them. And I know he wants them cheaper, but I just think what they do and the damage output and the soaking up damage and everything is you can't ignore these guys. So I want to put them in A tier. That's where I would put these guys. What do you think, Jose?
They're gonna go in A tier because the pass mechanic is busted with them. I don't think that it's intended to work that way. I think that if they actually looked at it, because the whole point of having your pass mechanic is to rally down, when you're rally up when you're down, and it's like you have to you're it's you take you take equal activations so they don't get pass tokens and they still get to go twice, so they get two more acts, so 12 to, let's say, 10-10. Now they're 12 to 10. And then if you take more, then they're gonna get passes and act twice, and they're still keeping maintaining that gap. I've played Rob a bazillion times against Dark Troopers, and I just think that that's an oversight with the pass mechanic that I think will get hammered out in the future. But until that gets hammered out, they're A tier.
All right. So, moving on. CIS Aqua Droids. I think we all agree S tier. Um, if you guys disagree, let me know. But just the cost efficiency of taking these guys and the damage output and the infiltrate and the fact that they could be a line of sight blocking wall. Um, my only gripe is they should have been a droid trooper, but it's okay because they give line of sight blocking. Uh, yeah, that's any objections?
Put it in front of the bus.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, S tier in front of the.
I've mulched the bus with one of these guys.
Okay.
No
Any
conversation.
comments? You guys good? Moving on?
They're
Yeah,
gonna get
they're S.
nerfed.
Yep.
They're gonna get nerfed.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think they are. They're again, this is a dark trooper kind of situation where they're effectively efficient because of all the things that fall in line. You take one of these things out of line, I think it becomes a worse
No,
thing.
no, I don't. They should be worth their points. They should be worth way more. Like their cost is criminal.
Oh yeah, they got 3 health too. Just letting the
That's
audience
they
know
no,
that like
they're
they're good.
for all that stuff. We've seen units with one or a fraction of those keywords cost way more in terms of what they need to bring to even minorly get to where this thing's efficiency is. So to me, it's criminal that they're priced at where they're at. I mean, you got people bringing 14 act CIS with Dooku Maul and two of these things. That's stupid.
Yeah, again, you take this in every CIS list.
I
It's no
think
question
I
about it.
honestly think we're to the point where they're not even two of. I think you could take one of and be just
Mm,
fine.
I still think you take two. I mean, again, it's just so cheap that you could just why not? Why wouldn't you take two, right? Uh, but moving on, the AAT, Nick, where do you think this guy should go?
Um, so red save armor is definitely a good unit. You basically can't kill this thing if you bring it. Um, it's not leaving the board, which is nice to know. Throws a lot of dice, has high velocity, so they're not gonna be able to spend any dodge tokens. Um, the only bad thing is that it's expensive, but it's in one of the cheapest factions.
Yep.
So even though it is expensive, it's not hindering you as much as maybe some of the other factions. And 9 health, yeah, 9 health red dice. yeah, you just don't. I don't see why you even shoot it. Um, I don't see you don't see it much though. That's a funny thing. I don't. Yeah, and probably just because CS has so many good options,
Because of aquas
and you have
and
aquas now,
snails.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
snails, and so it's like you have so many good options, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad unit. Um, I know it's hard for me to deal with them when I have to play across from them. I would say it's a B unit.
What about you, Jose?
I love AATs because of where I'm gonna put my where I'm gonna put my saber. I have to put these guys in. It's A for me. You got your only weak point is in the back. 9 times out of 10, nothing's gonna get back there. It has a ginormous base. You combine it with reinforcements from Kalani. You pair it with Kalani, period, and this thing's just a mulch machine. Barrage is way more prominent now with the way cover is. The imaginary cover, Barrage. It used to be Barrage. Oh, you're blocking two. Cool.
Right.
Now it's Barrage. You might have to eat all four.
Hmm.
So you want this thing to get planted. You want it even without Kalani. You want it, a regular tag, something that can share tokens with Exemplar. This thing is stout, it's stable, red dice, one weak point in the back that you're never gonna meet. Its cannon is 360, so it doesn't have to reposition if it don't want to. And the thing that everybody forgets, these bad boys can strafe. Strafe is such a great mechanic for maneuvering where you need to.
So where are you gonna put it?
I'm gonna put it in A.
A. So I want to agree with you, Jose, but I think Nick's right. I think it's a B tier because of its price point. It's a little too pricey. But again, it does have a lot of things going for it in the sense that it is red saves. This is one of the unique unit vehicles that you could do full order control with it if you put it in the Pilot. And I wish there was a way for me to get this on the table without spending one of its actions on it. Because again, I agree with you, Jose, on the barrage. Like I want to be barraging turn one. I want to put this on a POI and just start barraging because cover's not that reliable anywhere. And I always wanted barrage to be, really good. And I feel like it is in the right game mode for it to be really good. But that turn one where you have to get onto the board, I think kind of like
You're
slashes that in
also
half.
you're also forgetting slap high velocity shells and it's dodges. What dodges?
Sure, but I mean, again, um, it's just when this game's only played in 5 turns, and the first turn you have to get onto the board, cuts its efficiency down, you know, and it's too pricey. That's the main point. Again, you know me, I want everything cheap. It's too much.
Ridiculous, man.
All right, moving on to the Snell droids. Where would you put? Now, this is not the experimental one. The experimental one is after this one. This is just the regular Snell. So, Jose, where do you think this one would go?
It's better than the AAT. A.
You say A. Do you want to say why?
Just you get your defensive protocols, you get nimble on it. That base is what way bigger than the Gavs. If you're transporting anything, you're launching it into yeetable territory. It does everything you need to do, and it's a brick. You can turn it left, you can turn it right, you can, oh hey, here's my weak point. Oh great, cool. You're gonna shoot me with a crit gun. Cool, I have nimble. I'm gonna spend my dodge and nimble. You don't need to worry about it not having a dodge because you're gonna have either Kalani or an STD fired up with dodges already ready to go. So
As of right
it's
now, there
stout.
is no STD.
Well, the tac droid, Kalani or the tac droid, they're super tactical droids, whatever. Kalani or the tac droid, exemplar, being gifted to CIS was such a pain in the ass.
So
So
I think
stupid.
this is a C tier unit, because you don't really want to transport anything anymore. Again, you could do this for Dooku, Kalani, whatever you want, but no more because it's just core and special forces. Its damage output is good. It is a LOS blocking unit. But again, this thing is kind of like a weird base in that there's so many LOS blocking things that I think it has a hard time shooting things.
It can jump on stuff.
Sure, sure. Again,
Do you
I'm
not
not.
remember Scott's
It's
freaking?
Yeah,
in the air,
it's not
and
worse than a
Justin's
Gav. I will say
just
that.
Nick has this horrible moment. I forgot what turn it was, but Nick's playing Justin, and I look over, and Justin's freaking snail is across two buildings.
Yeah,
Get
yeah, I
out of
saw that was
here!
gnarly. Again, I don't disagree, but I still think this is a more an expensive shooting thing that has to be mostly fixed front. And for that reason, I just don't think it's that great. And so that's my vote is C tier. What about you, Nick?
I would say not C only because it is better than ATST. That's why I would say it's B. It's not as it's less points, um, same health. It has order control. So it's yeah, it has transport. I mean, yeah, I can't put it in the same tier as the ATST. So I would say it's
So,
B. It could be low B.
but Jose, you said A, right?
I said A.
Okay, so someone's got to compromise. Who wants
Well,
Well,
to
you
y
compromise?
said C, right? You
I
said
said
yeah,
C.
C. I said A, so split the difference. It's B.
yeah.
Okay.
Put in B.
What do we want
In
it?
front of the speeder.
Do you think it's better than the speeder?
That thing will eat the speeder.
I think it's worse than the speeder.
I think it's
Oh
worse than the
God.
speeder.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, it's not a one-on-one fight.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a lot. The speeder cannot get around it to hit
I
anything behind it.
yeah.
Speeder.
Because if
Okay.
you're telling me the Gav has problems with line of sight and looking over, getting over things, like the speeder is still low to the ground, still has the same problems.
Speeder 2, it just goes on
Yeah.
top of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
goes
Speeder
over it.
hovers. It's got hover.
Hmm.
it's hover.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
speeder. It doesn't have hover, it has speeder.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, speeder. The speeder keyword. So it just
Yeah,
goes over whatever height it is next to
yeah,
it.
We've
yeah.
never seen
Speeder
a
1.
speeder anything. We've never seen a speeder in film higher than 3 feet off the ground. Just want to put that out there.
I mean, in video games, I have
A speeder?
a speeder. Yeah, yeah. Those old Super Nintendo ones. Oh
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, and
God.
wait, and Han Solo, the speeder bikes, they go way high.
There you go.
They
Oh yeah, they did. They
fall.
did.
No, they go way high. They
In
go way.
Mando season 2, they fell and down like a cliff base. They didn't
Yeah,
fly.
yeah.
Um, moving on. We got the Snail Tank again,
S tier, S tier,
but
S
for
tier.
experimental. And I do agree with Jose.
Not
Nick, do
even a
you agree as well?
question.
S tier?
Yeah, you can put S tier.
Yeah. The reason
And
why. Go ahead.
S tier at the front.
You think it's better than Aqua's?
Bro, Arsenal 3. Arsenal, yes, it is. I have played Aquas into EXD multiple times. It's Aquas aren't safe from these
So the
things.
reason why I'll say my points here. The reason why I think it's not as better than the Aquas because the Aqua could go in any list. This Snail Droid is restricted by Battle Force.
Yes, and what's the most played CIS Battle Force
I
that
think
you guys
Aqua's now
have?
the most played list because you see so many variations of an Aqua list that you only see the very like generics of an experimental. Like if someone brings experimental, they're bringing two snails. Like you just already know that once you see the experimental droid list.
Yep.
Aquas, you don't know what they're taking. They could be taking snails. They could be, I mean, sorry, they could be taking droidicas. They could take a crab. You don't know what they're, but you know they got two aquas.
I
Um,
would I would put Aquas also in front of him because they have more versatility, more utility, more they're yeah. I would say
yeah,
Aquas
yeah.
first from front.
Mm.
Now, don't get me wrong, Jose. This thing can eat up an aqua, right? Because for what you said, it has Arsenal 3. You know, and
I've put the wall in front of them to do with the wall thing, and I was averaging losing 2 Aqua models every shot.
oh yeah, like
So
that's why. Again, the reason why this snail's so good is because not only does it have Arsenal 3, it's got the direct core trooper unit keyword, and it's got you could put two missiles on it. Is
and you get the
also
tokens, right? EXD
yeah,
tokens.
it's that's why it's good. The EXD tokens, like that's again, it's just limited to this one battle force, which is making it very good, and very strong. Like 14 dice, that's nothing to sneeze at when you're getting shot with that thing. Um, moving on, we got the ISP. Nick, what do you think about the ISP?
Oh man, I miss my ISP. I
You
built
played an
it.
ISP?
No, I built it. I painted it. I never played it. No, wait, or did I play it once? Maybe I played it once. Oh, maybe I did play it once. I don't remember. But I don't have it anymore. It's gone. Um, ISPs, yeah, they're not too bad. They definitely are improved now in the current game, being able to score. They got the speed 3. Um, they are cheap, right? In
Yep.
GAR, which is nice because GAR is expensive, so they do have that going for it. Um, you don't see them a ton. I know they've had a little success lately,
They
but
won Worlds.
That was
they
before the line of sight change.
That
before
doesn't
line of
matter.
sight change. Yeah,
They,
but they did
That
win
does
worlds,
matter.
but you know you can't let that skew it too much, right? Because that's
sure,
one day,
sure.
and you know one tournament, and even and worlds was not even it was no bigger than LVO, right? So
Mm.
um um, but it's a good unit. But I would say it's yeah, it's better than ETSD. So yeah,
Keep, keep,
it's a B unit. Um, it's a B unit.
Okay, I'm gonna go, Jose, because I want you to
I
decide
know
what.
you're gonna overgrade this thing. I
Yes,
already
I,
know.
I, I am. I am. It's definitely not an S tier. I do want to think it's an A tier because I think this is the most slept on unit. I think it has a lot of potential. And granted, sure, the new area terrain changes things a bit, but this has hover ground. So it could go onto the area terrain just fine and just
Maybe.
null and void anything that's going to shoot at it, right? Or I'm sorry, anything that's hiding behind it. Um, I really like the beam weapon. I feel like there's a beam weapon that does really good. I think the reason why you don't see this often right now is because this meta has a lot of armor units, and you know what armor units don't care about? Suppression. It did World Worlds. That was, could be arguably a special case. But again, just like you had said, Nick, it is cheap in a faction that expensive, and it's I think it's just efficient. I think it's very slept on. Again, I think that's kind of the meta, you know. Um,
And I would argue that Arcs won worlds.
sure. But I mean, these guys definitely helped that, right?
I mean,
He said
yes,
he said they were just a distraction piece is all he
yeah,
said.
they did
He
help.
went on and
No,
said it.
don't get me wrong, but Arcs won.
Yeah, I agree. Agree. Arcs again, you're preaching to the choir at this point. I hate arcs with a passion. That's why I feel like you don't see a lot of the good units in guards because of arcs. But I still think there's something here with ISP that I want to make work, and that's why I'm putting him in A. And I could totally agree that's probably biased and wrong, but that's my bias there. What do you think, Jose?
So you are 100% wrong. Nick is 100% too nice. The split is going to be in B, even though I don't agree, because everybody's forgetting the main reason these things weren't being taken. They get landlocked. It doesn't matter if they have hover ground one or whatever. There was a point in time where these things, just like the Gav, can get stuck, not being able to go over anything. People were clamoring for they should have hover air, not hover, because
Yeah,
so many people were getting stuck. I played ISP once. I owned two of them, and it was just like the Fluttercraft. I played it once, got stuck. This is bullshit. Never using it again. It's in pieces somewhere over there in the graveyard with the Fluttercraft. This it's just man, and especially the way the new terrain is now, like the new not terrain, the new line of sight blocking terrain. Because here's the thing, like you got some not every area terrain I've ever played with is where you could just here's rocks, let me move the rocks and I can sit it right here. I've played on plenty of area terrain where the piece is glued on and you can't do nothing about it. You can you
interesting.
can comp you can compromise with your well, we did it in our game a long time ago with your dewbacks. When I had the forest and you're like, my dewback can't go in there, what do I do? And I'm like, we'll compromise and we'll just say it's in there. Like that's the compromise we made.
Well, that's what I'm
What I'm
saying. Like, I think
I
so. Arguably, I think you could
I'm
potentially see more ISPs because of the changes to area terrain. Because now I think you're going to see a lot more area terrain than we did before because of the new changes. And these things can go in the area terrain and just deny that whole area
If
terrain.
it's not, yes, but I'm telling you, it's short. Like this thing is short.
Mm.
But
It's
again,
short.
it doesn't matter if it's in the terrain, right?
Yes, but if the terrain is glued, you're not putting it in there. If
Yeah.
the terrain is glued down, I have
I would say if the terrain is glued, I think that's bad area terrain in my opinion.
I think you're going to see Airtrain modeled differently going forward too, with
yeah,
yeah,
that'd be a safe assumption.
yeah.
But the highest point, for instance, the highest point, I'm in my memory from what I'm remembering, the highest point on Nick's X-Wing is higher than the highest point on the on the uh on the ISP. Therefore, the ISP cannot get over or into that. It has to just sit behind it.
No, it
And
can.
once again,
No, that doesn't apply to Airtrain. That's obstacle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high area is. You can go in it.
so it's
Hmm.
an area terrain definition, got it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Either way, I like I said, I've played ISPs and it's always the complaint and the complaint has always been just landlocking because it's so low. It is low. The stand is negligent. Like it's hard to maneuver that thing. I would like to see somebody do it now with the new area terrain rules and see how that goes. But like I said, I played it once, got locked, and was like, nah, I'm good.
So then where would you put this?
It's I'm so you said A, Nick said B.
Nick
I
said
would
C.
oh Nick said C.
I said B.
Yes.
Oh, did
He
you say
said
B?
B.
Oh, okay,
I
No,
sorry.
he
said
said
B.
B.
I said low
Yeah,
B.
you're biased. He's generous. I would put them at C.
C.
And I would put them behind everything. So the split difference is B, and I would say back end of B.
So all
Yeah,
right,
back
so
in
back in a
last
B.
B. Yeah,
Okay.
back into B.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we got the lat for Gar. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think this is F tier because Gar's
F,
not taking this.
F,
Yep,
F,
F.
yep.
F, F.
The only reason why I think no one's taking this is because Gar has way better units, and this is too costly for the Gar unit where it wants to be
Yep,
spamming arcs.
And you
yep,
can't transport Anakin anymore.
yep.
Sure, sure. Uh, Moving on, the Saber Tank, Jose. I'm curious where you're gonna put this guy.
It breaks my heart. It's so vulnerable because for some reason AMG for all the clone bias you say they have, um, the AAT has pistons that help drive it, but yet it only has weekend thruster in the back. Somehow, some way, the biased people that are AMG said, you know what? We'll give JR a break. We'll make it weak point sides and rear. 75% of it is vulnerable to crits. Here you go. Have at it, boys. Oh, you can take the clone pilot to offset it. Get the f out of here. It pains me. It pains me. It pains me. It pains me. It's C. As much as I would want it, I own two of them. I None of you guys here can say that Jose doesn't pack two sabers. I'm a big two saber Cody connoisseur. Hell, I was an Anakin two saber connoisseur. I love two sabers. They're just not great right now, and Guard can take those points and put them in everywhere other hole they can think of.
So you said
Cody's
C.
not even relevant anymore. Yes, C and in front of the ATSCs at the front because this thing can mulch stuff.
So it's kind of ironic that I want to put this in D tier. And it's funny to me that none of the GAR heavies are useful. That's because of the clone token sharing keyword. It's like that's why you don't see a lot of the heavies or stuff being taken is because they can't share tokens, and that's what GAR wants to do. That's why again, there's a lot of problems with the Saber tank, but I think that's one of the most important ones.
It's because Cody's not in a good spot. Cody can get them
Even
LTA'd.
then, sharing tokens is just that's so much better that everything that in that faction that doesn't share token immediately drops below the efficiency because of that keyword. And that to me is a problem and speaks to the volume of how maybe overpowered guard can be at times. Because when you have a unit that's fun like the Saber tank and you don't take it because of a keyword, I think that's a big problem. And so to me, I want to put that in D tier. Uh, because it's still got a little fun in it. But yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think, Nick?
I can't put it in D because you can't kill it. I can't kill this thing, and I shouldn't try. There's no reason. You put this on table. I should not shoot at it.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be able to take it off the board. It's got red saves. It has 9 health, armor 5. Um, so I would put it on D for just that reason. If you put this G on the board, you're gonna be able to play with it the whole game.
Hmm.
So I would at least put it in C.
See? Okay. What do you guys want? In front of the ATSEs?
In front of the ATST.
I don't know, man, because like
Uh,
I
I
feel
wouldn't
like
have
you
in front. Here, put it in between them. Split the difference.
yeah. I just feel like you see ATSTs at
Sure.
tournaments. You don't see Saber
Yeah.
Kings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, boys, we did it. I think this is pretty accurate.
That
There's
that A5 and S tier irks me to
Does
no
it?
end. Yeah. When as is Shadow Collective mopping the floor with their AA5s?
No,
I'm just not seeing it. I
no,
don't
but
know.
to be fair, if you
Shadow
see a
Collective
if you see
made
a
a
Shadow
run.
Collective list, it's got two AA5s in it.
I put Rebel Troopers in all my list. Doesn't mean they're
JR
good.
JR made a run with the AA5s with Shadow Collective.
Again, 2.6, Jose. 2.6.
You don't think
2.6.
JR? That's it.
None of that
You're
matters.
taking Shadow Collective to LVO to prove Nick wrong.
I do have a Shadow Collective list I do want to play, and yes, it does have two AA5s. But again, Nick, I would also put the AA5 that's in A tier into S tier because I just think a Rebel list, again, it's still pretty good efficiency it being in there.
Yeah.
Like the last time we played, you had two AA5s, and I think it did a really good job at blocking line of sight to units that I wanted to get to, right? Um,
Yeah. But
but
all right.
yeah.
I'll
Yep.
I'll roll with it. I'll roll with it.
Well, in the comments, guys, let us know if you disagree or you agree. If we're wrong, I want to hear it because I'm curious what everyone else thinks where these units should go. With that being said, any last words?
We're not gonna do rules questions. I got some quick
Oh,
ones.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Hit us with the rules
I
question.
want to go to bed.
Oh,
How do I stop
uh,
sharing my screen?
it'll be real quick, Nick. All right. Notch base, movement, and rotation. When a notch base unit, oh, this is by Pinto397. He says, when notch base unit takes its free rotation as part of its standard move, such as a speeder truck, what is the base allowed to overlap prior to moving forward? Can it overlap other units? Can it overlap terrain that is shorter than its silhouette? Can it overlap terrain that is taller than its silhouette? Thanks.
Well, it can't overlap units, and it
Mm-hmm.
can't overlap terrain that's taller than itself, but it can
Mm-hmm.
overlap terrain that's shorter than itself.
As long as it's not more than the
45.
45, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
correct. Mhm.
So Seth says, yes, as it is not overlapping. Yes, it is not ending the move overlapping another unit. It is still in the process of performing the move and is only in its first step of doing so. The answers for terrain are going to vary based on type of terrain, obstacle area, scatter, as well as how it restricts movement, open, difficult, and passable. Since you're specifying the height of the terrain, I will assume that this is prompt regarding obstacle terrain. If it's not obstacle terrain, the height isn't necessarily the most important feature, but it could still restrict movement in other ways. Generally speaking, no, you may not rotate a notch space onto terrain that it cannot move through, unlike miniatures which only restrict movement at the end of a move. Terrain can and does restrict movement during a move. If it cannot move through or over it, it may not rotate through or over it. Um, this one is gonna probably irk JR if he doesn't know about it. Dark Saber Maul and Saber Throw. So this is by Warden of Valhalla. He says, I was wondering, with Saber Throw being an attack from an upgrade card now, does that mean units with sidearm range, such as Maul with the Dark Saber, can no longer Saber Throw because of the sidearm keyword?
Well, what do they change about saber throw?
It's not the weapon. Saber Throw's a separate thing.
Yeah, it's word the card is worded differently now. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
because it's saying because the Dark Saber is not sidearm, does that mean Maul can no longer use Saber Throw?
Ooh, I feel like just because of how you said it means that Maul can't saber throw anymore. which that would piss me off because that's annoying. That's dumb.
Nick's reading. No, Nick, you can't read.
I was trying to find Saber Throw because I haven't
I,
actually
I, I
looked at the card yet.
I have it right here. I'll read it. When this unit makes an attack with this weapon during the form attack pool step, choose one of this unit's melee weapons. The weapon dice for this weapons are equal to half of the chosen weapon's total dice round up, and the attack pool gains the chosen weapon's keywords. So when this unit makes an attack with this weapon during the form attack pool step, choose one of this unit's melee weapon. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Why can't you? Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Why can't you?
You ready to break your heart?
Oh God.
Maul's Dark Saber upgrade has the sidearm range weapon keyword, which indicates that Maul may use no other range weapons besides those that are on the upgrade card. which
I don't.
has which has none. This does include the thrown lightsaber range weapon from the saber throw upgrade card. Correct. He may not use the thrown lightsaber weapon as sidearm range does not allow him to use range weapons other than that on the card given, if any. So Maul cannot. It's useless to take saber throw with Maul now with dark
That's
saber.
that's fine because if you're taking a saber throw, you're using this double-bladed lightsaber. You're not using the dark saber for that reason.
But if you're using him as a leader, you have to take the dark saber.
Sure, but I think in that case you're not using saber. You're not wasting your force powers on saber throw if you're taking the dark saber.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Rex, call me captain and split fire. Can you add 3 red dice on call me captain turn for each attack pool when you split fire? Example, clone trooper infantry squad with fives and a shotgun. Can you add 3 red each time if you split fire 3 different ways?
I'm gonna say no to that.
Yeah, because it's allied unit attacks. It's not when they
Yeah.
form.
Yep. He
Yeah.
says no, he may add 3 red attack dice to one of those attack pools as is not being formed during the form attack pool step. This one says movement through enemy vehicles. I felt like some of these ones are just for, you have new players that are probably watching the podcast. Can a Gav tank move through an enemy ATRT?
I mean, yeah. If it
Yeah,
if it
so
if it
get,
gets to the other side,
get all the way through. Yeah,
yeah.
Yep. So simple answer. That just says, Seth just said refer to the rulebook. Yes.
yeah, because all
All right.
units can move through everything now.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So this one is treat ID 10. Can the treat keyword be used to restore ID 10 bot to the item Versio unit?
No. Wait. A treat as in heal
He
yeah,
just said,
or repair?
can, yeah, well, treat and repair are 2 different.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
assume they mean
Yeah.
repair though, or well, no, I guess it is treat.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
think
treat
I think
X
the
and
heal.
repair X.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then I want to say yes. Yes to the treat.
Yep. Item Versio is a trooper unit, and such her unit may be targeted by the treat keyword. Item's ID 10 secret or miniature may be restored when doing so. All right. This might make Nick angry. Ahsoka 3 pip, I go where I'm needed. Can Ahsoka use disengage to apply the move granted by the same card, meaning disengaging, making the speed move 3 due to playing the card?
Well,
What is it?
that's the new Ahsoka. First, I thought you were talking about Rebel Ahsoka.
Yeah, I
That's
thought so
gonna make you
too.
mad.
I
No,
was just
that's why I
like,
said.
wait, what?
No, that's why I said it's gonna make Nick mad because it's another
Well,
good, better
the
Ahsoka.
answer is yes. Then it's the 3 pip you're talking about.
Yep. Can Ahsoka use the disengage on her key card or
Yes.
keyword
Yes. This unit
to do the
can
speed 3
can
from
guard.
that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
You
This
don't even let
round
Nick
and
answer.
he's reading. I'm trying to get him to bed.
Well, I don't even know what Ahsoka's cards do. I have to read that. I don't even know what they do.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
let's see.
yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This one it caught me off guard. ID10's Secret Droid and Ion interaction. I'm curious on the interaction, what it would be if Iden was shot by an attack pull with Ion keyword. Would the whole unit affected by the effects of Ion as the droid has droid trooper designation? Also, If Del Meeko or the R4 Astromech would be able to repair the droid if it was destroyed in combat, and if yes, would the droid return to the battle with a shield token on or off? So, if I didn't get shot with ion, even though counterpart gives makes Dio treatable as in treat heal, not repair. If she gets shot with ion, does it burn ID10's token? Second part is if it were to be brought back, how would it come back in terms of the shield token? Would it come back with a down shield token or would it come back with the shield token ready to go?
So I say it can't be repaired back and it won't be affected by ion.
I say, hmm, it you wouldn't assign it an ion token because she's not a droid unit, and you don't attack the counterparts. You just attack the unit, the main unit. So yeah, I guess I would say yeah. I guess I agree with that.
So Seth says item Versio's combined unit is trooper type, not droid trooper, and may not be targeted by a repair. He then says, if the unit gains a Shield X keyword, it gains Shield tokens. Shield tokens always interplay with their active side face up. ID10 Seeker Droid Miniature will return to play with a face up shield token. So if you repair ID10, he'll come back with the shield token up.
Well, you can't repair the ID10, right? But
If
you
you
can
treat it. If
you
you
treat it
treat it.
correct. Yeah, if you
If
treat
he
it.
comes back, it doesn't matter if his token was burned or not, it comes back face up.
That's actually a good little insight because then you could burn a shield, kill the ID10, repair or retreat it, and then it comes back with the shield token. Hmm.
Yep. And I got two more and then we're done. The Calico Kid, if an opponent, this is you are beaten and deflect. If an opponent shoots Commander Ahsoka on the turn she played her one pip, you are beaten, and she manages to deflect enough wounds back at the attacking unit to defeat it. Would she be able to make two attack actions and make the extra move action during her activation, regardless of the attack results?
That's you are beaten one.
Her one pip, I
She
think.
gains charges round if she defeats one or more units this round. Yes, I say yes. Assuming deflecting back means that you killed the unit. I
That's
guess.
that's what he's asking. If she deflects, kills the
But
unit,
what I'm saying is, does that count as Ahsoka killing the unit? Right? So I'm gonna say yes, just to simplify it.
you wouldn't consider deflecting unit as the killer.
I don't know. I mean, again, there's wording because like if you force choke a unit, that's not you because you don't get the sweeping clear for that point because you didn't make an attack against that unit to defeat it. So
That weirded me out when I heard that.
I know, me too. I was just like, whoa. So that's why I feel like the wording does deflect technically mean you killed the unit, or does it just mean it just died as a result of deflect? But again, to simplify this question, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, you can proceed. I'm thinking about Grogu now.
He's like, this is all nonsense, Grogu. So Seth says, yes, if enemy unit is defeated by way of Ahsoka Tano's deflect keyword, it will indeed satisfy the condition
Okay, good
given
to
on the
know.
second sentence of her "You are beaten." John's gonna have to beef up some Ahsoka stuff. I think this is right in his alley.
Yeah,
All right,
that's really good to know. He would like to know that.
this is the last one. This is by Red 5. If I use a veteran clone pilot on the ISP and use the beam cannon, can I pull aims for each attack, or does the sharing only work for the initial roll, or does
I
it work for all of the beam
I
attacks?
want this to be true. I think it's not true because I remember playing this list in one of the leagues when Roman threw a league, and I did this exact same thing. It was like, oh yeah, I get an aim for each time, and then we looked it up and the answer was no. So
Well, this is can you use an aim? Like if you so the veteran pilot lets you share tokens. So what he's saying is I make a beam attack and I get two more attacks from the beam. Can I share tokens to aim for all three?
well no because you're only allowed to share one token per activation.
No, the clone pilot doesn't have a limit.
Really? Well,
Clone
it
trooper,
says when this unit
clone
or allied
trooper.
clone trooper unit within range and LOS of this unit declares an attack or is declared as the defender of an attack, you may tap it. If you do until the attack is resolved, this unit and allied clone trooper unit may spend each other's aims dodge. Oh,
Not
okay.
clone trooper. It's not
What is
clone
this?
trooper is what limits to one.
Yeah. I want this to be yes. So I'm gonna say
Yes, you
yes.
can share the tokens.
Yeah. I want this to be yes.
Okay.
I think Nick's still on Grogu.
I'm still on Grogu.
Okay. The effects of a clone veteran pilot will last only for one attack pool. It will not persist multiple attacks made using the beam keyword. So what I would suggest doing is share if you have aims, sharing for the first attack and then using your own aims for the other two. Because you
Sure,
cannot share for the other ones.
sure. That
What's
makes
the
sense.
okay, you're driving me crazy now, Nick. Grogu, how? What?
Well, so they were saying that you can heal back ID10, right?
Right. The
Yes.
treat.
So before I never could heal back Grogu because he turned
Why
into
not?
a victory token.
Oh, now there's no victory
Now
token.
he doesn't anymore, so I could heal him back,
Take it to
Well,
the rules forum,
so
Nick.
what,
Take it
right?
to the rules
what
forum.
happens? What happens when I bring a bounty hunter? And now I don't remember what they changed about it, but
Now
correct
he
me if
just
I'm
has
wrong.
hunted. Now he just has hunted. So if a bounty hunter kills him, you get a victory point. That's what it is now. He
So
doesn't.
then, sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't turn in. He before he turned into a victory point, and he was
Mm.
completely gone.
So the better question is, if I kill Grogu with the
A bounty
bounty
hunter,
hunter,
and I heal him, and you kill him again. I
do I
assume,
get?
yeah, you'd get another one. I assume.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, yeah.
We gotta
I
ask the
was
forums.
why I well I see why not. You can heal him back because you're right. He doesn't turn to a victory token no more.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you find any rules saying otherwise?
No, I
Are
didn't, but I'll have to look into that.
are you
No.
gonna bring a medic just to bring Grogu back? They already knew the question. That's a
Hey,
stupid
hey,
question.
this is why the A5 should be S tier because he's gonna bring a bus just for that reason.
For Grogu, he's gonna bring
Yeah.
6 medics and a bus.
All
Immortal
right,
Grogu.
boys. I kept you guys here long enough. Thank you guys for joining me. Before I let you guys go, any last words, Jose?
Oh my goodness. AMG, give us the Force Orgs.
The Four Swords.
The
The new Force Orcs.
new Force Orgs.
Oh, okay. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. Nick, what about you?
You should have rated the Pizza Dish F tier.
My last word is gonna be, please, guys, again, come to Vet Fest. We want to make this a GT. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. It supports the veterans that served for our country. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Later.
Yeah.
Later.